President Bush issues a stern warning today. Good evening and welcome to NewsCenter at 5:30. I'm Jason Luzak.
And I'm Jill Korean. Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon heard from the U.S. today, both directly and indirectly.
When I said to the Prime Minister of Israel, I expect there to be withdrawal without delay. And I also meant what I said to the Arab world, that in order for there to be peace, nations must stand up, leaders must stand up and condemn terrorism and terrorist activity.
Prime Minister Ariel Sharon responded by defying the U.S. demand. Sharon said the action is in a reply to what he calls the murderous insanity of the Palestinians. He says the troops will leave after they have dismantled Yasser Arafat's government. Meanwhile, an envoy Anthony Zinni pressed the peace issue in person.
Well, despite President Bush's strong words, Israel's massive military offensive continues against Palestinian targets. CNN's Elaine Kianu has the latest developments on the crisis.
For the first time since Israel began its latest military offensive 11 days ago against Palestinian targets, Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon met with U.S. Middle East envoy Anthony Zinni. Zinni's mission to emphasize the message President Bush delivered over the weekend and repeated today, that Israel should withdraw its troops from Palestinian areas.
I meant what I said to the Prime Minister of Israel. I expect there to be withdrawal without delay.
Despite that call from the U.S., as well as others from the United Nations and the European Union, Israel's assault continues in full force in several West Bank towns.
We were compelled in response to a series of suicide bombings attacks to conduct this operation, and I do believe that this week we will begin to withdraw.
But Palestinian leaders say the Israeli offensive amounts to state-sponsored terrorism.
This is a war crime, clear war crime, witnessed by the whole world, preventing ambulances, preventing people from being buried. I mean, this is an all-out assault against the whole population.
The Bush administration is actively working to tone down the violence on both sides, with Secretary of State Colin Powell visiting Arab leaders this week before meeting with Israel's prime minister. In Washington, I'm Elaine Quijano.
Well, Prime Minister Ariel Sharon says once Israel's military offensive ends, Israeli forces will regroup into security zones to try and prevent future attacks.
I'm sorry, we're having technical difficulties. There is no sign that Israel Prime Minister Ariel Sharon is yielding to the pressure from Iraq or from the U.S. Sharon said today that the Israeli army will speed up its military offense. However, the military will not stop until it reaches their goal of rooting out Palestinian militants. Secretary of State Colin Powell, who is en route in the region, repeats President Bush's call for a withdrawal.
Presidency of the European Union, the entire international community as a result of those conversations will come together to stand behind this vision of two states living side by side, and with a clear statement to the world that we want to see this violence come to an end, a clear statement to Israel that we all believe it is time for them to begin withdrawal, and to do it, as the President has indicated, now.
Secretary Powell is currently in Morocco, where he is hoping to convince Arab leaders to help the U.S. form a truce.
Well, Iraq is launching a new campaign against Israel and the U.S. Saddam Hussein says his country will not export oil for a month or until Israel unconditionally withdraws from the Palestinian territories. This announcement came during a televised speech to the Iraqi and Palestinian people.
Honest, mujahid, noble Iraqi people, completely stopping oil exporting starting from this afternoon on April 8th through the pipelines going to the Turkish port of the Mediterranean and our ports in Basra for the period of 30 days.
Well, oil analysts say the move will cause oil prices to spike over the next few days, but it is likely that other oil-producing countries will step in to compensate for the loss. Well, as Iraqi President Saddam Hussein announced his country would not stop oil exports for 30 days, the U.S. Energy Department was announcing its summer outlook for gas prices.
The department predicts U.S. drivers will pay an average of $1.46 a gallon during the busy summer driving season, which is not about 8 cents lower than last summer. Energy Secretary Spencer Abraham says the Bush administration is working to keep the gas prices in check.
Your higher gasoline prices are a great concern to this administration because they strain the budgets of America's working families. They raise the cost of goods and services, and they ultimately create a drag on the economy. The Bush
administration is also setting up a consumer hotline for drivers to voice their complaints about any gas price gouging.
Well, and what do you think about this? Many of the people NewsCenter talked to today said they were frustrated with Hussein's 30-day export decrease.
Oh, yeah, after a 45-minute commute. So, I mean, that's what a pocketbook. You know, 30, 40 days of it's not going to kill me. Right.
However, some people NewsCenter spoke with weren't too scared about the possibility of a major long-term increase in gas prices. Well, Nicholas Ferrari, as gas prices are increasing, are the temperatures going to increase?
Am I going to need my umbrella tomorrow?
Well, what we're going to see is, yes, you will need your umbrella tomorrow, but spring is coming and it will dry out and warm up as the days go on. Our first forecast for this evening, rain and thunderstorms possible, a low of 49 degrees, winds out of the south at 20 miles per hour.
Thanks, Nick. Last night, an Evansville residents held a candlelight vigil for a peaceful end to the turmoil in the Middle East. While most of the people who were at the vigil attend the Islamic Center of Evansville, they expressed sympathy with the Palestinians caught up in the violence. Participants agreed that the violence has killed many innocent people, both Jews and Palestinians.
Well, fire investigators continue their search for the cause of a weekend fire at Depauw University. More than 100 students were left temporarily homeless yesterday after the blaze heavily damaged the dormitory and caused about $1 million worth of damage. The flames destroyed the building's 4th floor and burned through the roof. While no students were hurt, 3 firefighters did suffer minor injuries. Alternative housing has been arranged for the students.
State schools may be to blame for the weight gain in children. Indiana schools are devoting less time to physical education than they did 2 decades ago. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the number of overweight children in the U.S. has doubled over the past 2 decades to about 13%. The student weight gain over the past 20 years has been paralleled by a nationwide de-emphasis on physical education. The CDC recommends daily PE for all students through the 12th grade, even though Indiana schools only require 2 semesters of PE to graduate from high school.
Well, a special session may be in the works for the Indiana State Legislature. Governor Frank O'Bannon plans to meet with legislative leaders to discuss the possibilities. The governor wants lawmakers to continue work on balancing the budget and restructuring taxes. However, the leaders for both parties have not expressed enthusiasm towards the idea. To help promote a special session, a group of economic development officials from around the state held a news conference today and offered to pay for hotel accommodations for the lawmakers to meet and discuss the tax restructuring. Well, coming up after the break, we'll work on the lights and we'll tell you about the problems facing Arthur Andersen employees.
Wow. And plus, we'll let you know what caused the delay for airplane passengers in Cincinnati. Stay with us. Investors are fed up with Enron, and they've added 9 investment banks to the class action lawsuit against the energy giant. The shareholders claim the banks have helped finance lucrative schemes that have helped Enron maintain its pre-collapse image and knew of Enron's questionable partnership and financial dealings. The banks named in the suit are J.P. Morgan & Chase, Citigroup, CS First Boston, Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Bars Clay Bank, Deutsche Bank, and Lehman Brothers. And Enron's accounting firm, Arthur Andersen, confirms that it's laying off 7,000 employees, or 27% of its workforce.
As CNN's CeCe Rogers reports, Andersen says the layoffs are one of the many consequences of the event of the past month.
Andersen employees began a rainy, dreary workday at the firm's headquarters in Chicago, knowing that a good number of them were about to lose their jobs. The battered firm has lost 130 clients since being indicted last month on criminal charges of allegedly destroying documents related to the Enron debacle. In an effort to preserve cash, Andersen is expected to hand pink slips to 6,000 to 7,000 employees, about 20% of the U.S. workforce. Workers began arriving at Andersen headquarters before dawn, braced for the layoffs.
Financially, it'll be a drastic change. Yes, I will be losing my job. I've already been told that my particular business unit will be dissolved.
Yeah, it makes me very angry.
Do you think your job is in jeopardy? Do you think your
Oh yeah. I've got being part of marketing, obviously we're not doing any marketing and there's no need for marketing, so I'm 99% sure I'll be losing my job today, yeah.
Andersen partners around the country are negotiating deals with the other Big Five accounting firms to absorb their individual business units. A number of tax and audit partners from Andersen's Chicago office, for example, will be joining KPMG in Chicago. But that's little comfort to the thousands of support staff who today will get pink slips and severance packages. Cece Rogers, CNN Financial News, Chicago.
3, 2, 1. We have booster ignition and liftoff of the Space Shuttle Atlantis, setting in place the keystone to the space station's backbone.
Time was the charm for the Space Shuttle Atlantis. Last week's launch was foiled by a leaky fuel gauge, but today was a different story. The 7-astronaut crew is headed for the International Space Station, where they will bring construction supplies to the space station. The crew members are expected back on Earth April 19th.
Passengers flying out of Delta out of Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky International Airport today had quite a delay on their hands after security officials spotted what appeared to be a knife. The screener detected the suspicious item in a bag as it moved through the X-ray machine. However, the other security workers stopped the wrong bag, letting the suspicious bag go on. The terminal was promptly closed and all passengers were later rescreened. The knife-like item turned out to be makeup wrapped in foil.
There are signs that Cincinnati's race relations may be getting better. Cincinnati's police union has approved a tentative settlement in a lawsuit accusing police of harassing blacks on the basis of their race. This agreement comes a year after a white police officer shot an unarmed black man, causing race riots. A black motorist filed the lawsuit last year seeking a court order prohibiting police officers from racial profiling. The city maintains that the tentative agreement isn't just about racial profiling.
It is our membership's belief, again, that we do not racially profile, and that was one of our big sticking points during the vote, is that if we sign this agreement or if we agree to this agreement, that we agree that we racially profile.
Tentative agreement would set up a citizen complaint authority that would investigate complaints against the police.
Tornadoes and storms caused some extensive damage in Texas and Louisiana. Residents in Plain Dealing, Louisiana, were among the cities hit hard by the weekend storms. These were numerous tornadoes reported in Texas and Louisiana, destroying several homes in many areas. Relief isn't in store for Texas and Louisiana, as storms will stick around for this week.
Well, Nicholas Ferrari, we don't have it as bad as the people in Texas and Louisiana, but what's it going to look like? Is this rain going to continue?
Well, actually, we do have severe weather up in northern Indiana. The flood warning has been issued for Tippecanoe River and Wabash River at Bluffton. So watch out for floods up there, but the rain will taper off as the night goes on. Find out more coming up in our full forecast. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Nicholas Ferrari, in for Rebecca Clark today. Time to open up our weather almanac for Monday, April 8th, 2002. And what do we see? We see it was a great day out there. Our high, 62 degrees, surpassing our normal of 58. Our low was at 50. Not too bad, considering our normal is 38 degrees. The sun rose at 6:14 and will set tonight at 7:13 p.m. A little tidbit of weather wisdom today. Our quote of the day: "The rain, it falls, and the wind, it blows, and the restless ocean ebbs and flows, but the why and wherefore, no one knows." That comes from Alexander MacLachlan, a Canadian poet. Now, when he said that in the 1800s, of course, there wasn't as much technology as we have today, but still, meteorologists have questions about the weather in our world. Across the state of Indiana today, South Bend up 53 degrees. Fort Wayne, 55. Muncie, 62. Indianapolis saw 60. And Evansville, the warmest place today, 66 degrees. Currently outside, we have hazy skies, a temperature of 62 degrees. Winds out of the south-southwest at 10 miles per hour. And the humidity is at 74%. Sticky day out there. In our satellite picture, look at this. This tells a story in itself. We have this system up here and another strong system down here to Louisiana and Alabama. And let's take a look at our radar picture, and that really gives you a sense of what's going on. Here's that band of rain which has stretched through the central plains on over almost to the eastern coast, and down here in Louisiana and into Alabama, where we saw tornado warnings in effect for the area around Lake Pontchartrain and up into Mobile, Alabama. And currently here in our area, you can see that band of rain going through northern parts of the state, just light showers, no thunderstorms or anything like we experienced here in Muncie earlier. For tonight, we see this system still in the area, slowly moving through, but it will stay with us as the day goes on tomorrow. Our lows for tonight will be in the 40s. Not too bad. For tonight, rain and those thunderstorms continue, a low of 49 degrees, winds from the south at 20 miles per hour. And for tomorrow, that system moves out of our way, and here's my forecast for tonight. Dark skies. For tomorrow, that system moves to the east, but it does still stay around Louisiana and Alabama. They'll see storms for the rest of the week. And for tomorrow morning, showers, a temperature of 50 degrees when you wake up. Great spring morning. And it will warm up into the 50s, possibly 60s tomorrow if we are lucky. And there we go. For tomorrow, more rain, high of 58 degrees, winds from the north at 10 miles per hour. And in our 3-day outlook, we see partly cloudy skies for the rest of the week. So no more rain, but temperatures in the 60s. So spring will be getting here by the time the end of the week rolls around.
Well, there's definitely some lovely temperatures out there, but it's a good thing the rain's staying away.
Thanks a lot, Nicholas. Well, Jake Johnson, I heard Jared Jeffries has a big decision to make.
Yes, Jared Jeffries today made a decision that's going to affect many Hoosier fans around the state, so stick around if you want to hear his verdict. This weekend, the Ball State men's baseball team took to the field in a 4-game weekend against the Toledo Rockets. Over Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the Cards swept the Rockets in 4 games, 13-1, 6-3, 11-6, and 6-3. Both Nunley and Holman did their part in the games by hitting the first home runs of their collegiate careers. Holman finished the series 4-9 from the plate with 8 RBIs. Scott, with incredible hitting, managed to push his batting average from .229 to .315 by picking up 6 RBIs and 3 doubles. The Cards upped their record to 6-2 in the MAC, 14-11 overall. They are in action again on Tuesday against Xavier. And hoping for its first winning season since '96, the Ball State football team took the field this week for spring training. After a long winter conditioning, Coach Lynch got his team on the field to start training for the goal of winning the outright MAC title rather than having to share it again this season. The Cards still have safety this year in junior quarterback Talmadge Hill and senior running back Marcus Merriweather, who are looking for consistency this season.
I mean, the expectations are just to improve, and I think more than anything, we got to get more consistent. I think everybody's looking for that consistency. I've got to get more consistent. You know, our whole offense has got to get more consistent. The defense, and if we continue to do that, we're going to improve, and I think that's what we're trying to do.
Well, we wish you the best of luck.
Thanks, Mark.
The team will be looking for talent in the wide receiving and defensive end department. One man competing for the job is freshman Andrico Spates, who graduated high school early and is now practicing with the team. He is the 22nd member of the incoming freshmen trying out and will be competing in the annual Cardinal and White game, which is at Ball State Stadium Saturday at 1:30 p.m. And in college basketball, IU superstar Jared Jeffries made the announcement today on his decision to go pro or stay in college hoops. Jeffries finished the season with an average of 15 points and 17 rebounds per game to help etch the Hoosiers into the national championship game. Jeffries has already proved that he can post up like a big man and shoot like a guard, but it's physical strength that he'll have to work on. Jeffries is the second Hoosier to go pro in 3 years, last being Kirk Haston. Jeffries said he would not make a decision until he talked to NBA and NCAA officials, and at 1 o'clock today, he announced his move into professional sports.
Well, it sounds like a pretty good trade-off. Classes for a big fat paycheck.
Yeah, if money is the thing you're going for, then good decision.
All right, thanks a lot, Jake.
Coming up after the break, Nicholas Frary will have your wake-up weather.
And we'll let you know what we're working on for 9:30. Stay tuned.
Nicholas Frary joins us now with our weather recap. Nick, what can we expect when we wake up tomorrow?
Tell me something good,
Well,
please.
keep your umbrella out for tomorrow, but for the rest of the week, you can put it away. For tonight, those rain and thunderstorms which have moved through today continue. We'll see a low of 49 degrees. And for tomorrow morning, as we wake up, showers and a temperature of 50 degrees. And tomorrow, our high will get up to 58 degrees. Great spring day, except that we have more rain. That's the trade-off we get. And in our 3-day outlook, temperatures in the 60s throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but partly cloudy skies. So we should be able to enjoy those nice spring days.
Tonight at NewsCenter at 9:30, a study says that the heavy drinking can be dangerous to women's health. Learn more about this study and your Ball State and local news tonight on NewsCenter at 9:30. Well, thanks for joining us. I'm Jill Crean.
And I'm Jason Luzak. News Center 43 is an official CNN Student News Bureau. Be sure to tune in tonight for News Center at 9:30.
Good night.
Good night.